Howdy, I'm Ben Solak, and on the play sheet this week, we're doing the 2023 quarterback class scouting reports. We already did Bryce Young, and today, Ohio State quarterback CJ Stroud. Alrighty, so Ohio State quarterback CJ Stroud. We're just gonna watch a couple throws. We're just gonna watch a couple throws. You couldn't walk downfield and put it in his hands any better. This is by the way a one-score game late in the fourth quarter. Oh, that's a throw. Play action, under center, ball fake, pressure. Come on, man. Look at Stroud, reset the feet. Blitz luck, back foot. On the outside shoulder, okay? Perfect placement. Away from the corner. Oh, that's beautiful. When you watch CJ Stroud, you got to start with the simple, undeniable fact that the young man was made to throw a football. It's just beautiful. There's an idea that he's just a regular pocket passer and he's got a good arm, and he doesn't have an insane arm in terms of velocity and in terms of power and distance, but he's got arm talent. I mean, it drips off him. He's got arm talent in spades. Two areas to highlight for Stroud's arm talent. The first is far hash throws. On a college field, the hash marks are wider apart than they are on the NFL field. So if you're on the right hash throwing to the left side, it's got a lot of distance on it, and it's important to see those throws from NFL caliber quarterbacks. The other arm talent thing I want to highlight is actually related to that. It's Stroud on the move. Stroud is definitely the least athletic of the top four quarterbacks, and he does the least amount of work outside of the pocket, and he's really accurate from the pocket, and he's not as accurate outside of the pocket. But with all of that said, he makes some really nice throws on the move. This is where Stroud really shows off just his arm, because his pocket mechanics are often so good, so it just looks really clean. But when things aren't clean, when he's getting hit, falling into the sideline, or when he's trying to throw against his momentum, his arm solves a lot of problems for him. He'll still be accurate 10, 15, 20 plus yards down the field, throwing on the move. Not something you expect given kind of the way he's talked about and the profile that he fits. There's a chemical reaction that happens here when you have a quarterback with an extremely gifted arm, the CJ Stroud, and you have a receiver room that he's thrown to that includes first rounder Chris Olave, first rounder Garrett Wilson, future first rounder Jackson Smith-Njigba, and future first rounder, maybe the best of the bunch, Marvin Harrison. Very good receiver room. When you get that plus a guy who's got a lot of arm talent, you get a very aggressive passer. Let's start with the good side of aggression. Stroud will drop back rhythm and throw, just 3-step and shoot into some ridiculous windows with great anticipation over the middle of the field. A lot of bodies, a lot of geometry to deal with. These are NFL caliber big boy throws. I love this throw. Extremely sick. They're gonna run dagger, which is where you run a seam route, right, all the way down the field, and then behind it you run a real deep dig, right? This breaks at 20 yards. It's off screen right now. I can't even show you. So CJ Stroud, 5-step drop, right? Deep drop in the pocket. He's going to start hitching up now. And this is where that dagger break's going to come, right? This seam route is going to keep running at the safety, who's off screen right now. Safety's there. And then they're going to break this dig in behind. Look at just all of the defensive bodies that you have to deal with. There's one more over here. If you're thrown into this window. I mean, this is congestion. And Stroud just grips it, rips it. That's a sick throw. 5-step, eyes to the backside, hitch into it. I mean, before the safety arrives, in stride with Harrison, and behind this linebacker, just NFL throw. Similar idea here, close to the line of scrimmage, bang 8 post, right? We're going to get to about 8-10 yards of depth, and we're going to bang inside. And then there's just this slot defender. Just watch Stroud just stare at his soul. Play action fake. And then right here, just you're going to have this route go outside, and then Harrison's going to develop behind. You can take this any day of the week and feel perfectly justified as a quarterback. Stroud just steps in. Ball's out right now. Ball's out right now. You can't see the receiver. He's between the receiver and the ball. Ball's out. Excellent placement, and bringing the receiver down to the ground here is helpful. Help him protect the ball from the corner who's behind him. Make sure the corner can't play on it. Lovely. those are breaking routes, right? They break into the middle of the field, and Stroud's great at those. But there is no throw that Stroud has better in his bag than like the seam and the bender. These throws that are working vertically through the middle of the field, we got to layer them between levels of the defense. Again, big boy throws, and you can make a whole highlight reel of CJ Stroud throwing seams and benders. Fourth quarter, late, down multiple scores to Michigan. Open, looking to the tight side of the field, checking this safety. All right, you're going to be over here. I have a bender. It's going to work right between these two deep middle safeties. All right. It's just perfect ball. Great route. Ball's out. On the face mask. Gorgeous. This one breaks my heart. Trying to come back late against Michigan. This is the final drive. All right. Again, open to one side. Watch the way he works in the pocket here. This is going to be the seam route that he throws. Again, safeties are splitting and the linebacker's trying to carry. So this is the route he's going to end up throwing. Watch how he works the pocket though. Get to that outside. Turn your hips. Hitch up. It's perfect. Yes, he has to elevate and ends up bouncing off his hands and getting picked, but you got to throw this with elevation. You have to throw it up high so you can get it over that linebacker, right? Here it is, end zone view. Hitting that tight end, right up the pole. Breaks my heart. This one's actually a really important one because the first couple we saw, those safeties where they were too deep and they were splitting, right? And then you were throwing the seam route, that pole runner between them. In this case against Iowa's going to go single high, right? You have a single high safety. And so now if you want to throw this seam route, which CJ Stroud does, you have to protect this receiver with ball placement, with timing, with anticipation from this safety coming in and collisioning him, right? So again, watch Stroud on the drop back, get your feet set. You know, a little bit of a mess here in the pocket as well, right? We got a rusher getting chopped by the running backs. You can't fully step in the way you'd like to. Look at when he releases the ball. Just now, thrown to this window before this safety can get there. It's just big boy stuff. It's just high. It's just 303 level football right there. Love to see it. Now, when you live in this world where you're going to throw middle of the field a ton, seams, benders, deep digs, in breakers, and you really, really trust your receivers, you're going to get over aggressive, right? And we have to remark that while Stroud generally throws like great seam balls, great benders, he does throw some hospital balls, and it's often when he's just a little bit, just like a tick behind. And that tick behind is going to be really important to talk about with Stroud. So these are two like seam benders against Wisconsin, and they're actually back-to-back plays to the same tight end, and that's going to be important. So we watched the first one. That tight end motions, and we're going to be throwing him on the bender right here, right now. This route's going to develop into this area. You got to worry about this safety closing in. You got to also worry about these linebackers, right? So you can't throw this too early, going to get tipped. Can't throw this too late, the safety's going to hit it. Well, the ball ends up coming out a little bit late because pre-snap, you can see Stroud gets his eyes to the front side, right? What he wants to do is he wants to pull this safety this way. That's what he's trying to get done. Safety doesn't really buy it. It doesn't take the cheese. So Stroud goes, all right, and just kind of resets in the pocket, takes that little extra hitch, and now tries to throw this. As this route develops, you got to throw this ball behind your tight end. You got to make him turn and jump to catch that thing behind him so as to protect him from this hit, because you have to know you're a little bit late and that safety sniffed out what you were doing. Stroud just kind of throws this run-of-the-mill positioning, and he gets his tight end flipped and the ball comes out. Now again, same drive, right? And we're going to throw this tight end on the seam route, and here's the middle of the field safety. This throw, I honestly don't mind the placement of it too much. Again, look, he opens his eyes up to this side, and then boom, he tries to snap his hips and his feet and his eyes to this seam. Ball probably needs to be out right now. I don't think in the red area, right, in the red zone, you really benefit too much from faking to open to the front side and then popping back over. I don't think you're gaining a lot from that. And sometimes Stroud has this issue, like I said, where he'll be a tick late because he's trying to do like high-level pocket stuff. He's trying to, okay, like, open this way, move this guy, and then reset my feet. But he's not a super like springy or fluid athlete. He's got like long legs, a little bit gangly, right? A little bit sluggish at times. And so he doesn't snap through that pocket movement the way like a Bryce Young would, and the way that he needs to execute stuff like this. And so his eyes get over to the route before his feet get there. He's got to reset his feet, try to throw this thing. And again, I don't super mind the placement. Like it's far out there, but it's okay. But this tight end just got decleated by a middle of the field safety. And so he's a little squeamish about selling out for that ball. And he gets hit again in the ribs. You got to protect your players if you're going to throw these routes. So the placement, like I'm confident Stroud's accurate enough that he's regular to make these throws. It's this footwork in the pocket right here. All right. Eyes to that a wide side. Try to flip my head over, try to flip my feet over and get rid of this ball quickly enough and accurately enough. Ends up being not accurate enough and he gets hit. That's the thing that is interesting here. It's very rare to find Stroud like egregiously late, damagingly late on these backside throws. But because Ohio State just typically played with such an advantage wide receivers wise and protection wise, he's just a little bit like lackadaisical, a little bit methodical in the pocket. And it's very reminiscent to Justin Fields' issues when he came out of Ohio State, where it's just, I don't have to play at this top speed. I'm rarely punished for it. Well, the NFL is going to punish you for it. It's something you're going to have to get accustomed to. The other thing about Stroud going to the backside and finding routes there is that he's always really confident they're going to be open, and that the look that he saw pre-snap is still going to be there post-snap. And accordingly, coverage rotations get Stroud a couple of times. I think this is such an important play for Stroud. I think encapsulates a lot of what we're talking about. Single high, right? That's the coverage we're expecting here. We have the ability to play man, right? Like everybody's kind of lined up with bodies that they can cover. Linebacker over slot receiver, not super great. So maybe this is zone, right? Because we have guys who have zone eyes right now. So maybe we're zoning this off and we're doing some sort of cover 3 nonsense, right? There's potential here from Wisconsin. They do a lot of weird stuff. Now, as the ball is snapped, watch the rotation, right? We widen out here. We get this nickel bailing to a deep half, this nickel bailing to a deep half. And that deep safety is going to actually drop into the hole, right? This ends up playing out like Tampa 2, right? We're going to get 2 deep half safeties underneath coverage here, and then this whole player right here. This is Tampa 2, right? So nice little coverage rotation. Now, what Stroud wanted pre-snap, you can see he's looking at the bottom of the screen, is he wanted this slot fade. They love the slot fade. They throw it. Stroud's very accurate, whatever. But once you get a deep half safety, you got to know you're not getting this. And you can try to throw now to this shallow route and still pick up the first down. It's going to be challenging, right? You got to snap to that really quickly. So Stroud says, all right, I can't take the front side. I'm going to come backside, right? And he's going to have a guy running through, and then he's going to have this in-breaking route. Like, all right, it'll probably be open, whatever. But because it's Tampa 2, right? Because they have all of these zone defenders here just kind of looking at these routes, breaking at the sticks right here, there's not a window, right? He doesn't check his work. He just turns and he goes, all right, I like that route. That's my backside route. Let's hit it. And I mean, like this ball is out in front. There's a linebacker there at the catch point. There's another one to make the hit. Like this had no chance. This had a chance. The potential of like scrambling out here, outrunning this guy, running upfield had a chance, but this didn't really have a chance. And he kind of just doesn't check his work. The biggest issue for Stroud in terms of not checking his work is when a guy lines up on the line of scrimmage, he's like positive he's rushing, which like, yeah, like 99% of the time he is, but he got a few times with players dropping off the line. Let's show a couple of those. Red area, Stroud wants this in breaker, right? You just got a safety who's off, just breaking in front of him. I'm going to put it right in your numbers, catch the football, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But what you end up getting is this nickel who looks like he's coming low, like he's coming into the line of scrimmage, he's going to drop and sink directly underneath that route. Watch him turn. He knows exactly what's coming. Like he just turns and gets his eyes right to this because the Buckeyes love this route, okay? Safety's already drilling down. You got to see this guy and go, I can't throw this ball. To do so, to choose to throw the ball is a lot of dip on your chip. It's a lot of gumption. Here, Stroud's just got a lot of arm talent. He's a very accurate young man. He gets away with it. That's a touchdown. That safety's just like a millisecond late to the catch point. Great catch by Igbuka, and it's a touchdown. Now, the score is impressive. You can't tell me that throw right there is good process. I just don't buy it, right? That's suboptimal. We have examples of that. Wisconsin right now. It's the same defense, just a little bit earlier in the game. This edge is going to drop into this window. And Stroud's just going to open and see it the whole way. I mean, the whole way. All right. Eyes to it. He fell off the line of scrimmage. And he's about to sink right into that window. Pass breakup very well could have been picked. Michigan, 3rd and short. Pressure look. They're going to bring this linebacker. They're going to drop this edge. And they're running slant route right here. And this time, like, Stroud literally watches the whole thing. Like, his head is right to this side. You can't, again, he's aggressive. He's very confident in his arm. You cannot throw this. They're dialed in, man. They know you. This is where if Stroud moved around a little bit more and he had better creativity to him, just eat this and try to make a guy miss and see if you can run and see, like, you have a deep concept out of over here, but you get to the backside, but he just believes he can hammer this thing in there. And that should have been picked. Now, this whole conversation, guys dropping off the line of scrimmage, changing looks for CJ Stroud, his willingness to leave the pocket, right? Accept that his first read's been taken away. Don't come late to something. Have a second reaction, have some creativity, do something. Lands at this Georgia game that he plays in the college football semifinal, a game that they should have won, which was Stroud's best game of the season. It was his best game of the season, like, by a mile from an evaluation perspective, because he started to show you some of that creation ability, what it might look like if he played outside of structure just a hair more. I love this play. To me, this is the most important play from the Georgia film. This overhang right here. He's not on edge this time. He's just an overhang. He's just like a nickel hanging out. He's the guy to watch, because right at the snap, what's he going to do? He's going to turn his eyes, turn his head, and he's going to find that short window, right? And Stroud wants it. He doesn't throw it. And then he thinks about throwing this bender. But as we saw earlier talking, he said, okay, come to these late a little bit. You're inviting hits, right? You're worried about collisions. You're coming to these a little bit late. So Stroud's going to see the first taken away, think about the second, not take it, come to the backside, not like anything, and scramble. Create outside of the pocket. He's going to move. And when you move, you warp the defense. When you move, you create a second play, a second reaction opportunity, scramble drill. And then that throw on the move, that delightful throw on the move that doesn't get to shine as much as it should, uncorks it. Okay, front side, not good. Back side, nope. All right, time to create. Warp the defense. You move this way. Scramble drill throw. Money. That right there. If your coaching staff can get that out of CJ Stroud, we are cooking with gas. NFL caliber quarterback. Stroud is tantalizingly close to getting there, to being more confident, getting outside of the pocket and using his athleticism to change the defensive perspective and find throws in the scramble drill. You can tell he's close because he's got great pocket footwork, right? He's got like the quarterback drill 10,000 times, sort of step forward, step backwards, change the angles, move around, find a throwing platform. And there's some springiness to him when he's in there. You just need him to become more comfortable with the idea of, all right, sometimes after you do that, it's time to leave. If there's a space in the pocket you can just exit from, exit and make a play happen out there. Eliciting more creativity, more off-script throws from Stroud is important, but also understanding that he's just always going to be like a functional mover and nothing else, that's important too. Stroud takes more sacks in the pocket than other quarterbacks in this class, like Bryce Young and Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. He also, when he has the opportunity to run, oftentimes doesn't take it to like hilarious levels. Instead, he'll attempt like a super low percentage throw when he could just pick up like 5 yards with his feet. This sort of play where he's like good at moving in the pocket, but he needs to become more willing to just tuck and run when the opportunity presents itself. It's very similar to like how Dak Prescott grew at the NFL level, where he had to calibrate, all right, how much do I manage the pocket and how much do I run to kind of strike the balance I want to as a passer. That's a good comp for Stroud, in my opinion. While the totality of Stroud's issues may seem small, like, okay, he trusts his arm, whatever. He really likes his receivers and he trusts them, like, that's not bad. Lack of mobility, right? He's not the greatest mover. Like, that doesn't seem like a big deal. It's just that last one, the lack of mobility, it couldn't come at a worse time. The NFL quarterbacking meta is swinging towards mobility in a way that we have never seen before. And Stroud represents a zag to that zig. He's not a part of that movement. Real quick, like just off the top of your head, name the great young quarterbacks in the NFL. Like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence. Each of those quarterbacks had at least 50 rushing attempts last season. All but Herbert had at least 60 rushing attempts last season. Stroud only had like 35 true rushing attempts last year for Ohio State. So accordingly, when we look for modern comparisons of Stroud's game, if he's an elite level passer, sure, he's Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, and he's Aaron Rodgers winning the MVP in 2021. But more realistically, he's somewhere on like the Dak, Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff spectrum, which just like, it's not bad. It's just not hugely impressively world ending. Like, oh my gosh, I picked this guy in the top 5 and he's going to run my franchise for the next decade. You're in a family of quarterbacking where the current elite young quarterbacks aren't. They're in a separate bucket altogether. So there's challenges there. There's worries there. But we can just go back and watch some of those Stroud throws from the top of the show, and we feel just way better about him in the NFL. He is delightfully accurate, a wonderful passer, extremely high floor, and a ton of fun to watch. Thank you so much for watching our CJ Stroud breakdown. Thank you to Richie Bozick for his production. We did Bryce Young, and we're going to do the other guy. We're going to do Anthony Richardson. We're going to do Will Levis. You got to subscribe. You got to follow. You're going to see those. Go ahead and click the button. Come hang out.